the opportunity to share this evening. I want to apologize up front. I'm going to read my notes because I only have a certain allocated time, and I want to stay on point. I've worked full-time in Ward 6 for 23 years and lived here part-time. And first of all, to give full disclosure, it's my feeling, and the feeling of as many who are here, that there should be no Planned Parenthood clinic in Washington, D.C. Our reasons for that are simple. It was founded by a racist who wanted to reduce the number of African Americans. She never repudiated those eugenic views, even though she died in 1967, 2 years after the Voter Rights Act was passed. Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider in the world, takes the lives of over 330,000 innocent children here in America. Their clinics have been sued and charged over fraudulent Medicaid practices, have been closed for violating health standards across the country, have seen women die at their clinics from botched abortions, and thousands of others maimed and wounded. Right now, they are under congressional investigation, and both the House and the Senate have voted to defund them. I don't believe this is the kind of life-affirming organization we want in our neighborhood. However, here I'm not going to discuss that as much as I'm here to discuss the process, or better yet, the lack of process of how Planned Parenthood was allowed to open right next to a middle school and in a residential community. I begin with a Washington Post story on this controversy in which a parent of a student who attends Two Rivers says this, quote, "Does anyone really believe placing a Planned Parenthood facility literally between two schools is a wise decision?" I could not agree more. The parent goes on to say that the clinic's placement is a, quote, "in-your-face affront to many of their families with children attending the school, particularly those with religious beliefs and those who don't condone abortion." This has been the response of many of the parents that we have talked to face to face. In a local television news story, a supporter of Planned Parenthood said, "What were they thinking?" Again, we could not agree more. It is clear that Planned Parenthood was only thinking about themselves and not the school or neighborhood. They could have placed the clinic anywhere in Washington, D.C., but they chose to show a complete lack of sensitivity and compassion for Two Rivers and this neighborhood by placing it where they did. I want to say, don't blame peaceful demonstrators for any disruptions in the neighborhood. That's like blaming the civil rights protesters in the 50s and 60s for speaking out against segregation and racism. The problem lies with where Planned Parenthood decided to put the clinic. They knew there would be regular, peaceful demonstrations there. They knew there would be public witnesses against the horror of abortion. They knew there would be ambulance leaving the facility from botched abortions. They knew it would violate the beliefs and values of parents with children who attend the school, but they didn't really care. They knew that abortion is one of the most divisive and emotional issues facing our nation today, and yet they put it right next to a school and in a neighborhood. And with all due respect to the ANC, I would like to ask, what were you all thinking? It's your responsibility to ensure the general welfare, health, and quality of life in local neighborhoods, and you allowed a facility to be placed in your ward which will create disruption and controversy. You never had any public hearings. I understand you were not required to. You never had any discussions. You never had any conversations with anyone in the neighborhood. You never thought what the parents and in the school were thinking, in spite of this being such a divisive issue. In our canvassing of the neighborhood, many people did not know abortions were going on right next to them, and neither did many of the parents of students at the school. Many didn't want it there, even though they ardently said they supported Planned Parenthood. This issue was never addressed, and sadly, many of the problems, the controversies coming out now, are from a lack of due diligence. As commissioners, would you have allowed a bar to be placed next to a school? A liquor store? Strip club? That means I have to go fast.
Madam
Factory
Chair,
that
point of
made
order.
Confederate
The
flags.
gentleman's time has expired. We have a great deal of public business to conduct this evening, and and I would respectfully suggest that we move forward with the other business on tonight's agenda.
Thank you, and I talked to Mr. Goodman about having a public hearing, and we are working on that now. Thank you very much.
All right, moving right along then, brief community announcements. Start on the other end there. Commissioner Sheen?
Yes, it's the time of year for package thefts. So please be careful. If you are expecting a package and you know it was delivered to your home and it's not there, please